Alright, guys. Here we go. Alright, you guys should be able to join in a second here. Just wait for everyone to get in. Let me know if you guys can hear me in the chat. If you can hear me in the chat, let me know. Sorry, I got a little bit different setup today. Just, I was previously doing school from the other side, so you had the posters and such behind me, but not with this setup. So all right, we're just waiting for everyone to get in here. Looks like a lot of people are tuning in. All right, once I get the report here. Oh, we're still like a minute behind. Alright. First would be Archov. So, yeah. You guys ready? Alright. So, basically, we'll start with the announcements, I guess. So the first big announcement is next week we will be doing the second ever BBGMA tourney. That's the BBGM annual. I'm super excited for it. It's going to also be hosted on ABA. But the part that you guys are now all probably pretty excited for. So while that tourney is going on, I've also come to an agreement with Nabu, and they're going to do the next tourney after it, followed by a tourney by another league to be determined, but I'm in negotiations with one of the big ones. And we might end up having 4 BBGMA tourneys this year, culminating in an awesome final ABA-hosted December tourney. And that's going to be the second yearly tourney, and I think we really have a path to be like the almost like the LCS, but really like a hybrid Olympics one, just of all of the BBGM servers sending their own teams and competing in a really hot 5-minute high-paced, like really awesome like 3 or 4 day event. So anyway, I'm super excited about that. Anyway, so next up here, the other thing I want to discuss is we recently got a whole bunch of new moderators, and I just want to say thank you to all of them for joining our team. I'm super excited about the long-term outlook of the league. In addition, due to me being busy with a whole bunch of stuff and such, I'm really excited that JJB is also going to be doing a lot more of the upper commish responsibilities for a bit. And I'm excited to see how ABA can handle doing a bit of a transition. I'm not like going away, but I'm just excited for a future that's more community driven. I think that we have a new great recording team. A whole bunch of people have decided that they'll also start making videos for this channel, and I'm really excited. So I just want to mention that. And I hope you are all pretty happy with that decision. So anyway, with this, guys, we're going to do Progs here. I'm pretty excited for it. I know you guys all are too. We can decide if you guys want to do A or W. I think is right now the low. If you guys want to let me know in the comments which one you want, A or W. Let's see. Just going to make sure all the free agencies are in. BB Kinney, where are you going? I think Bruno Kendrick was in too. Yeah, so Bruno Kendrick was in for sure. I'll add that real quickly. That's not a biggie. Somebody want to drop in the comments where these guys are going for me? That would help out. Let's see. Bruno Kendrick's 2 years, 29 mil to Mexico. And And next one was BB Kinney. And he went to... Where did BB Kinney go? 4-year max. So it's 40. It's 2043. And it's Cincy. Alright. Alright, guys. So let's see. Is there anything else left here? I don't know if any of these other guys had already signed or if they're waiting post Progs. Let's check. No. Next up. Alright. I imagine Penetrado's going back, but I think he's trying to wait to see if he gets under the max. And a lot of people waiting for next round. We had like 275 offers or something like that, which is crazy and super exciting, but a lot of work. So, I'm pretty sure I pulled this export straight from mod chat, so, but it looks like everything else is right, so I can check. Looks like people are having a discussion in the comments. Yeah, it looks like everything else is in. It looks like just one contract had an error, so I'm not too worried about it. If we end up needing to fix things, it's no biggie. Pretty easy to do. Anyway, so with that, I'm going to go to multi-team mode here, and here we go. We have Prog, guys. Alright. So in the chat, let me know, A or W. It looks like W was winning earlier. Oh no, I see a lot of A's. I see a lot of Z's. Why is Z's, guys? A or W? Let's see. W. W's winning now. Lots of W's. Alright, so we're gonna start with W. Alright? Alright. I feel like we haven't done that enough. Alright. So, taking a look here at the bullets. Wally Craig goes up. Jajaeus goes down. Light's a bust. Dude, people thought he could be like the next McGillen level guy. Oh, that's unfortunate. That's like their second big bust because I think Howard busted 2 with them. Speaking of Howard, still on the team, but definitely a shell of what he used to be. Spud Webb, too. This is disappointing. They were in such a good spot. I don't even know. They're a playoff team, but not a high caliber one anymore. That's rough. And Robinson stalled pretty hard. Oh. Billy Bogue's still in the league, though, so there's that. By a shell. Alright, so Washington starting off with bad progs here. Let's see what's next. Rare's Ola goes down. Kurt Anthony goes down. We're just getting bad progs. Kotov and Beniku all going down here. They're not in a great spot, dude. I feel bad for them. We'll see. At least they got a good prog from Barrett, so there's that. Vancouver, they could be a contender this year, but the progs did not favor them getting there. They had good progs for their bench, so they're kind of deep, but they don't have a real true superstar. They do got a little bit of cap to work with, so look out. Gino can be dangerous with cap. They probably had the best progs we've seen so far, so that's not a great sign. Utah here. Gilgy goes down. They have a lot of cap room to work with. They didn't get much in the offseason here. But they got at least some decent progs. But overall, Petrie going down, Armstrong going down, Kamen and Gilgy, just another bad progs. They're probably not a playoff team, probably rebuilding this year. Tokyo, fresh off losing GM Ruby, still stings. Nobby goes down, and a lot of their role players here not particularly inspiring. Another bad progs, though Zigo went up and actually might be a sleeper Rookie of the Year candidate here. He's definitely going to put up a decent amount of points thanks to being a fairly solid offensive big. So we'll see what goes on there. Next up here, Tijuana. Karen goes down, but they have a strong core now. Alexander going up. They're probably a playoff team. Frankly, I think it's a little disappointing because this is a solid core that they got. They got some cap room to add some role players here, though I'm sure this wasn't the prog they wanted from their young guards, except for maybe Alexander. So again, no great progs here. Tokyo also didn't have good ones, so we haven't had a good prog yet. First, maybe good one here is Tampa. They're still probably out of playoff contention at a 48 overall. I hope you guys can see this okay. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. Let me know if that's a little bit better. All right, guys? All right. So anyway, here we go with the next tier. Curtis goes down. Curtis and Robbins go up. Curtis might not be a bust. We're actually looking at who's one of the mathematically worst players in that draft class so far. Aaron Fox does recover his value to a degree. So while they have a young core of guys that look sort of busted, they might not be in too bad a spot here. And DJ Dixon doesn't go down. I think he'll be a good role player if they try to go with a small ball approach, which I don't think would be necessarily a bad idea here. Anyway, we will see what goes on there. They looks like they need to sort that out as well. So anyway, next up here, Syracuse. John Lee stays the same, which I guess isn't the worst because he's a great defensive player. Bonner finally goes down at age 35. That's insane. He peaked really late. But he's going to still be probably a pretty high PR for them. You notice he got the volume scorer badge. That's a new addition to BBGM I'm super excited about here. Dalton Miller also progged up, or Dalton Miller. This is a solid team. They are a little bit deeper than they were last year. We'll see what they look to do this season. But I think they're in a pretty good spot to make the playoffs. Maybe make a surprise run at like a 5 seed. Meanwhile, let's take a look at Snohomish. They narrowly missed out on Dante. David Manning goes up to the 70 they told Dante about in their pitch. By the way, you can check the pitch out on ABA's announcements channel. Taking a look at David Manning here, he is a 70 going up 1. Super cool, but Chris Paul does go down 3. No longer looking like a potential superstar. Maybe Buenos Aires won that trade a couple seasons ago. Meanwhile, though, they do get good progs from a lot of their supporting cast. Overall, if you're Snohomish, I want to say you like these progs. Even though CP3 didn't go the way you wanted, the rest of your team certainly did. Also, CP3 getting the volume badge there kind of could be helpful to determining his trade value later on. Next up, Singapore. Big and Chunky goes down significantly. Jolly as well, but Troy Neptune III going up big time. Kind of the inverse of his father, Troy Neptune Jr., who kind of peaked early on. I still got to link him. We'll get that taken care of. Anyway, Keon Covington goes up a little bit. I think that they're going to overperform expectations, but I don't think they're going to be a title contender because of how big and Chunky and Jolly went down. Granted, Jolly didn't go down that much, but I think they're in a pretty solid spot. Next up, Seattle. Dante, the God, not so much. He does add another badge to himself, and he's a 73 overall here, 73 overall, but he does drop 4 potential. Though they do have a pretty decent supporting cast around him, though they did lose Isaiah to KwaZulu. They're definitely going to be one of the contenders in the West and probably have had the best progs that we've seen just by not going down at their older age. Next up, San Diego. Alex Moore finally starting to go down. Gene kind of a little bit, but Griner goes up, becoming maybe that 3rd star that they need, kind of on the border of that. That's a really good fit as a star that they could have used to develop. Honestly, I think they're going to be better this year, maybe a playoff team to an extent. I think they narrowly missed it last season, right? Yeah, last season they narrowly missed it with Moore. I think this season they're going to be right into it. You notice they haven't made the playoffs since 2026. That's crazy. That's all, like 7 months ago. Rio de Janeiro here, meanwhile. George Mikan up 1. Kevin Warner up 3. Colton Nicholas down 4. Oh, Rio de Janeiro got hit hard. The Mikan pickup helps a lot. They got some cap room to work with because Nash contract issues, but I don't think they're in a bad spot. And Borjan progging up is huge. He is an incredibly high PER. They could potentially run a lineup of him, Warren, Mikan, Colton Nicholas, and Umberto. That is absolutely massive height-wise. With Laurinaitis and Guillen off the bench, that's going to be hard to match up with for almost any team. Next up is Providence here. Kyle Korver with the great prog. Keep in mind, they also just added Geno Parker. They're in a pretty good spot all of a sudden. Honestly, Ricky might start turning this team around with now a legitimate big 3 in the backcourt here. He just needs to add some big men, and this team could be pretty dangerous very quickly. And he has the cap room to do it. So, Ricky, go get a big man. Save your job. You got this. Your job. All right. Pittsburgh, meanwhile, they're starting the rebuild here. Very likely to move on from Big Z and Dial. I think Dial now has some trade values. He's not nearly the worst contract in the league. He's not a great contract, but there are definitely teams that would upgrade on bad contracts with him. I think we've seen a couple of them already. Team like maybe Washington could go out and get Deal. Meanwhile, Big Z, he's probably an amnesty or cut candidate here. We'll see what goes on there. I can definitely see Warner potentially getting cut or playing no minutes, or even being a trade chip, as he is an expiring contract here. Meanwhile, you got McClurg with a great prog. He actually might have some value. That's kind of crazy. McKissick also going down a bit, but Dalton Olson does go up as well. They got good progs from two of their busts. Looking at that, Pittsburgh saving careers. They may have a few guys in most improved player category here. That's going to be kind of cool to watch. But Pittsburgh, once again, a doomed franchise here. All right, next up, Philadelphia. They got good progs from Hamilton, Boz, and Parks. That's a good trio. Daniels, they're deep. This is a deep team. I don't know. Philadelphia's in a good position. I actually GM'd this team a while ago, and I'm super excited to see them get here. Granted, it's been a tough road, but Josh is a good GM. Maybe a GM of the Year candidate this season. We'll see. New York Nets, they brought back Rudolph, which is what they need to do. Hogan's healthy now, and 40, they got a good big three. Hart progging up, that's going to help them a lot up front. And what they really could use now is really just adding a wing. We'll see what they do, but they should be in a fine position here. Unfortunately, Mike Hunt going down is a bit rough, but I think they'll take these progs anyway due to the fact that they now have a legitimate quality starting lineup. They're definitely going to be a contender. I know they didn't make the playoffs last year, which blows my mind. Meanwhile, Mike Scott becoming a legitimate superstar. This team has a lot of money to spend, and has a really solid young core. They missed out on several free agents here, so we'll see what New Jersey does. But after a really strong season, I have hopes for them. Taking a look at Montreal here, Merritt goes up, Roderick goes up. They're probably right on. Actually, this says they're more than a playoff contender. It says they're really good. I don't know if they're going to play that way. I think they have a lot of talent, a lot of young, quality young players, but I don't think they're quite there. I think that they're just going to be a solid playoff team at best, but they're really just a bunch of assets that can become stars eventually. Like one of those really good, not quite good enough to be a contender teams. But if they go and get a star, they got the assets to do it. I mean, Montreal is in a really strong spot all of a sudden. So we'll see what goes on there. Minnesota, meanwhile. Wow. I mean, yeah. They're a stacked team. McDowell and Howell are a dynamic duo. They got cap room to boot. Minnesota, you are in a great spot here. They might go back to the finals again this season, which is crazy. Howell probably is going to be an MVP candidate this season. 65 rebound, 95 passing, 75 offensive IQ, 85 from 3. Howell's a beast. And he was one of the older rookies we've had in league history. Didn't even start his first 2 seasons, almost like a Paul George style career here. And he's now looking at potentially being a Axel Blaze level guy. I think he's now the 4th or 5th highest overall we've ever had. So we'll see what Jay Feike does with him. Taking a look at Milwaukee here. Adam McGillen down 1. Flora down 3. Ziegler down 1. Burleson down 5. And he's still recovering from an injury. But they got the good progs from the prospects. Well, I don't think this is the progs Milwaukee wanted. I think that they'll take them because of the good progs off their bench. Either way, I do think Burleson was a huge addition because in most of my test sims, he becomes a great pass-first player and gets like 9 assists a game when healthy this season. And this team needed a point guard. He could potentially be a starter by the end of the season, I think. Also, I like the addition of Rondo, adding a defender to that position as well. Going out and getting what they needed. Good job by Milwaukee. All right, taking a look at Miami. The strong progs from Donovan Perkins. That's huge. He's now a star. Meanwhile, McPherson still got the volume scorer badge in his 15th season. Somehow the 3rd best player on a really bad team. But we'll see if he can still put up stats this year. I'm pretty confident in him. Mexico. They retained Kendrick despite rumors he might leave. I kind of started those rumors, full disclosure. Britt actually might have saved his career kind of with a late prog here after looking like a massive bust. They're probably going to be at the bottom of the playoffs again. But they're always one move, I feel like, away. Meanwhile, former undrafted free agent Jordan Moss had a good prog. Honestly, they might have some of the better supporting cast they've had in recent memory, but they need to move on from some of these young guys that are just busts. I mean, Michael Porter, even though he progged up, his potential dropped so bad. But we'll see what goes on there. All right, next up here, Melbourne. McGillen drops 3. With Howell going up, we might actually have an MVP battle. We'll see. If Axel had good progs, he might be a higher overall here. Meanwhile, LaMelo going down 3. They're not bad. I like the Jacobs edition. They have cap room too. We'll see what they can get around McGillen, but so far it looks like this season's all up for grabs. We'll see what Cincinnati looks like, though. Los Angeles, they have maintained their core here on pretty good contracts, but light does go down, though Freddie Taylor might be one of the best contracts in the league this season. Shamel, when I talk about a Scott Dial move, Scott Dial for Shamel makes sense, in my opinion, for both teams. They don't need this player to win now. They're just starting a rebuild. Meanwhile, you take a look at Los Angeles, you upgrade from Shamel to Dial, you're all of a sudden getting a starting point guard out of a guy that was barely in your rotation. And you're probably looking at being in the playoffs. So anyway, if you're the GM of Los Angeles, I would look into doing that. You could even make a move to get Big Z as well, sending Manahertz and a couple of other guys for contract match purposes. Actually, I think it would just be Manahertz and Baker and maybe Kerr, and you're done. So seriously, take a look at that. Anyway, London here. Schrute goes down pretty big. Nick Jordan goes up. Nick Jordan, potentially one of the greatest caps in league history, the former first overall pick, continues to go in the right direction. Keep in mind, he'll also get his points off this. This guy has massive upside here, so we'll see what goes on there. Honestly, this team's just a slow burn, but they're going to become good, and I'm a big fan. Next up here, Las Vegas. Sutton goes up. Warner stays the same, which is good, but their supporting cast, Smith and Reddick, both kind of stalling. Jennings going down. They're probably out of the playoffs here, but at least it's not as ugly as it could be. All right. Next up, KwaZulu. Potentially, Isaiah Thomas is going to put up some crazy stats this season. All right. This team is thin. They're a lot better than they were last year. But Isaiah Thomas is in such a position to put up crazy stats. Oh my God, 35 points might be possible. We'll see. I'm very excited. Also, I like the Fenner pickup. And Stealth's cap, his abandoned cap is 35 overall. Might be in the running for 6th man of the year once again, which is crazy. All right. Next up, Kentucky, last year's champion, 86 overall. They might be in the battle this year. Axel goes down big time. Reigning Finals MVP goes down big time. But Danson Williams goes up. Dr. J goes up. The veteran cast here of Harold Maven, Julius Irving joining this team. I think they're in a pretty good position to repeat, but I don't think it's a guarantee by any stretch. Next up here, Kansas City. Their addition, Jermaine Hawkins, thrusts himself into MVP battle range. At 32 years old, he is playing his best basketball of his career. What a move by Kansas City. This is going to be talked about as one of the best trades in recent memory, potentially. A huge gamble on both teams' side, but Kansas City here is getting that big benefit. They now have a chance that he could put up 30-plus points easily for the next couple of seasons. In addition, I think that they're only a center away from being a really good team, and they got the cap room to make a move. They could be in the room for a guy like Big Z. So we'll see what goes on there. Jacksonville, meanwhile, they got cap room. They got a new GM. Bodio does not prog up. Engelman progs up a little bit. Fajmason goes up big time. They're not in a bad spot by any stretch. Elon progging up pretty big. I'm excited about this team, dude. We'll see how they do, but I'm pretty excited. Houston, KG up 2, Jaeger up 6. Houston's in the playoffs, maybe a contender at 73. Barry up. White is 33. I don't think White or Ball have ever really been on contenders. And now they have big potential here. This might be the best season in Houston, Alaska history. Have they ever made the playoffs? Yeah, they did twice. I think they're going to blow by the 48 wins here. I think they're in a good spot. Interesting that their top 3 games played players are all on this team. That's pretty cool. You don't normally see that with an expansion team. Hawaii, meanwhile, they took a lot of hits. We'll go check on Penetrator. He's a free agent likely to come to their team. He's a 62. Oh, wow. Pete Mahorn's getting paid. Wow. All right. Hans Gruber also going up big time. Mayer as well. King is a solid starter now, potentially. Smith goes up. Wow, this is huge. Wow, there's a lot of free agents here. Tatuli signed. I have to add him to a team before I export this. let's see. Tatuli was 5 years to Kentucky, I think. Yeah, 5 million, 2 years to Kentucky. I'll add that in right now. My bad on that. 5 years, 41. All right. We'll take a second look at Kentucky really quick. We're just a couple rows back. So that actually brings them up to an 87. And Tatuli potentially could start for them, or he'll be a sixth-man type guy. We'll see. I don't know what they're going to do there, but I'm pretty excited for that. So anyway, take a look at Hawaii here. Billy Howell goes down, but Jacobs also goes down. They're in a rough spot. Maybe they'll get Penetrator and they'll be okay. Maybe they'll re-sign Skarn, but Hawaii just had a cursed free agency and a cursed season, so we'll see what goes on here. Next up, Flint. Trevin Brown looks like he might have potential. He has a pretty dangerous build. I'm pretty excited to see that go up. They traded Harden to Chicago. I think that might have paid off, especially with O.J. Mayo coming into his own. They have a pretty solid team here. They got Ray Allen and World Be Free for that. Though I don't know if those two are going to equal Harden. We'll have to go take a look there. But anyway, Flint, they have a bright future, but not as strong right now. So, all right, Detroit here. Maurice Stokes goes down too. Ooh, that contract is now not bad, but definitely not great. They're a good team. I don't know if they're a true deep contender this year, but they're definitely a good team. They basically blew their team up. I'd like to see some Athamos Stokes action, maybe even with Hammer Nail, and they could go with a big lineup. We'll see. I liked the Guillen pickup here, but we'll see how this team does. Denver, Jeremy Walker up 2 big progs to Spider and back. I'm not going to try to pronounce that name. I'm just jumping ship right there. Honestly, I would like these progs if you're Denver. They're in a pretty good spot to be a top 3 seed in the West. Next up, Dallas. They're probably in the playoffs this year. Alex Hood, what is with this? Alex Hood, I've done 4 test sims, and Alex Hood always becomes Finals MVP or MVP. In one of my test sims, he was like a Derrick Rose. He was the worst one-time MVP ever because he just got hurt right after, but he won 1 MVP and 3 All-Star appearances. Like, Alex Hood could potentially be the savior of Dallas. We'll see what goes on there. I'm gonna give him that nickname, you know? Test sims and with another good prog. He's bringing Dallas back to the playoffs. I'm calling it. All right, next up here, Cleveland. Holton, oh my God. Holton goes up. Lingard goes up. Hooks goes up. Vasilic goes up. Arrington goes up. They finally got good progs. YBP finally got good progs. After all this time, he finally got good progs. That is awesome. Exciting time for YBP. All right, next up here, Cincinnati. They could be one of the favorites in the East. They're going to probably be with Kentucky in the conference finals. BB Kinney up 1. Splash up 3. CPJ up 2 or up 4. Short up, Rhodes up big time. Honestly, these were Derry Young up big time. Kumar goes down, but they got good progs. Price also goes down. Chicago, Gale down 1. Jack James down 2. Oh, that's rough. They're going to put up good stats, and I like Paul, even though he's not high overall. The Harden trade, not looking bad or good. This is a small ball team that I really like. Fleecer, also now 38 years old. That's actually crazy. Yeah, that's correct, too. That's, wow. He's had a crazy career. Only played, 10 seasons? Not even 10 seasons, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, he's actually played 10 seasons. That's crazy. He's actually played 10 seasons, but over the course of 20 years. Spread out into different chunks. 9 seasons. So this will be his 10th season. That is something I just not expect Fleecer to have done in his career. Because he was one of the first caps, too. So this would be his 18th season had he not taken breaks. But anyway, 17th season. Charlotte, big progs for Patton, big progs for Sparks, big progs for Hunter. But I don't know. This team's probably in a medium spot. They're kind of capped out here as a fun team, but they'll need to make a move. I wouldn't move Hunter if I were them, or Sparks. Potentially Lever was their tradable asset, but he dropped down pretty big. I don't know. They're going to have to make some moves probably. Carolina here. Mackey up 3. He could be a potential star. Sullivan up 3 as well. Meanwhile, they get good progs from their bench and not bad progs from their other starters. And they got cap room. Carolina could be another contender in the East here. We'll see. Cardiff, meanwhile. Where is my guy, Corone Avarice? He is starting. All right. Let's just... We'll set my own lineup for a second here. I'm going to start... Yeah, I'm going to start myself. There we go. Oh, and I'm going to give myself plus. Why not? That's what you get when you're player coach. Yeah, you got to set your own lineup even when you're awful. Anyway, yeah, Cardiff got horrible progs. No surprise. All right. Next up here, Cottrell Ellis. Down 4. Ooh. Gervin down 2. Gill down 2. McRae down 5. I don't know. I still think they kind of want... If they can do anything this year in the playoffs, they probably won the Cottrell Ellis deal, because Snohomish hasn't even made the playoffs. Well, we can take a quick look at that deal. Let's just scroll down here and take a look. All right. So, team winning percentages. So, Snohomish has crashed. And as of now, it looks like Buenos Aires won the deal. Because it looks like Paul has never gotten to the level he was. We'll see. I think both teams are honestly unhappy with the deal in retrospect. I wonder where Clarence Matthews is these days. I feel like him and Luke Ross might actually have been... I actually can't open them on the live stream. We'll see. Clarence Matthews. So he's with Chicago this season. And they're getting a 59.62. So they're getting decent value here. And Luke Ross... Wow. Still the best contract probably in the league. That's crazy. Still another year on it, too. Yeah, with that cap room, they're in a great spot here. Boston, meanwhile. Mike Dowling continues to be a bust on that contract, but Maz and Higgins might have a huge year this season. Sam Clampman, this could be a revival of a really solid, fun Boston team. That would be super exciting. Note, they don't have a volume score, so they might want to add some scoring here. I could potentially see Dowling being moved this season if they start out disappointing, because this looks like the year that Higgins and Johnson have both come back into their own, and they might actually have a really solid chance. A volume scoring big man would be the way I'd go. Potentially, I could also see them picking up Austin Warner in a deal, or if Big Z gets cut. Anyway, Bosnia. Tyler O'Grady up big time. Guillen up big time. Mark Lucas up big time. Small Tom kind of up. Stephen Black Jr. complete bust. But, wow, Bosnia is back in it. They have a solid duo that is expiring this season, and both probably won't re-sign. No, Irfan, not again. Oh, the humanity. Oh, that is not the button I wanted to click. Belgrade. 68-71. John Mitchell. That's good. Russell Rogers and Jimmy McCabe both up. Honestly, if I'm Belgrade, these aren't bad progs. Though Yao did lose his volume scorer badge that we found he had in test sims. But they're not in a bad spot, honestly. They're not in a bad spot because they're deep and high quality, I think, this year. And Stewart prog bad, so they probably won that trade in the end anyway. Beijing. Mars Lewis up big time. He could be a potential star this season. Garrett Jennings not up or down. I guess he's just a solid point guard here. T-Mac goes down, which is a little disappointing, but I think Beijing's in a pretty decent spot. Atlanta. Peter Hill up. Clifford Robinson up. Otis Jacks up. These are the perfect progs if you're Atlanta. Except for Juan Jean. He just crashed. So, yeah. Anaheim. Jason Morris up again. That's crazy. And a big prog from J.B. Walker. Anaheim's going to be fun this season. Don't know if they're going to be good, but they're definitely going to be fun. Hicks and Kawhi up as well. Alright, guys. That's it. Those are progs. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I had a blast. I'm super excited for this season. Anyway, we will run another free agency probably tomorrow. I don't know if I'll be running it, but there will be another free agency rant tomorrow, so get your offers in by 5. And have a great day. Happy President's Day weekend. Yeah, hype.